Welcome back to the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards for the Shore Lunch 250. The cars are fired up and out there rolling along. Finally, we were able to get another General Tire qualifying session in. I think we've had 3 of them rained out this year, but when all was said and done, how about young Riley Herbst? Boy, he did an incredible job there in that number 18 car, of course, driving Corey Gibbs, Joe Gibbs' team, and he came out here and laid down the number.
Yeah, first career, and just did a great job in qualifying. It was kind of sporty in qualifying. A lot of these drivers getting a little loose. They got the green first time by, and the sun was out, the track temp was up, and the rear ends were dancing around. But Herbst really doing a great job and really sets himself up for a great spot to start this race.
Yeah, we talked about how much that track had changed for everybody, but boy, the guys really had a good setup in it from the Gibbs team, as you might imagine, and that young man came out and took advantage of it. By the way, his father overrunning the Bob 500 as we speak. Let's get it down to Bob Dillner. He has more on Mr. Riley Herbst.
Riley Herbst is an 18-year-old kid running Elko Speedway for the first time on the pole. He's going to set the pace. Well, I spoke to his crew chief, Shannon Rush, and what he told me is Riley is a very aggressive race car driver, and sometimes he needs to put his bit in his mouth to slow him down a little bit. He told him before this race, be patient, save the car to the end. We have a car that can win this race, but sometimes you have to put the bit in the horse's mouth.
Boy, and that's exactly right. Keep in mind, he was developed in short course off-road racing where it is crazy aggressive, and you can go out and run just as hard as you possibly can. So he has learned a lot very quickly here. Let's show you how they're going to start here. As we talked about, Riley Herbst will be on the pole. He'll be lined up here alongside Brett Holmes here in our ARCA Shore Lunch 250 starting grid.
Yeah, you'll see Zane Smith, another guy coming out of short course off-road racing, if you will, starting inside row number 2, Christian Eckes, who's been spot on all year. We'll have to keep an eye on the 15 for sure.
Let's go back to row 5. We find Shane Lee was in a big wreck a couple of races ago. He'll line up alongside A.J. Fike. Gus Dean leading in the Scott Rookie of the Year points. Justin Fontaine is back after that big wreck in Daytona. Willie Mullins is here as well in the 34 car.
Yeah, the Moose Prater there outside of row number 8. You go back inside of row 9. Bobby Dale Earnhardt, Kerry's son. He'll start inside row 9 in that number 3 car. Will Kimmel having to take a provisional starting deep. Kimmel just one of 4 drivers that have raced here before taking a provisional.
And we are looking for the green flag this time around. Riley Herbst hits the acceleration zone, stands on the throttle, takes the early lead decisively. The 23 car right behind him falls in line. Brett Holmes trying to hang on to the spot. And the 55 car, Zane Smith already charging up hard.
Yeah, big jump for Riley Herbst coming off turn number 4. That number 18, NOS Energy Drink, UFC Jim Carr, hooked up here early. Holmes running in second. Great battle for that 3rd spot right now. You can see side by side between the 55 and the 15.
Yeah, 2 deep back there for 3rd place. As you were talking about, Riley Herbst, who turned 18 years old 6 days after Daytona. So he missed the Daytona race. He wasn't allowed to run because he was only 17. But since then, boy, he has come charging back, doing a great job, and currently 3rd in those Scott Rookie points.
Christian Eckes in the 15, still back there battling with Zane Smith in the 55. That is for the 3rd position. You can see them back there as Herbst already catching the tail end of this field here on lap number 5.
Yeah, that did not take long, and we knew that was going to happen. That's all part of the short track racing. You pick up those lappers very, very quickly. In fact, it looks like the 06 of Mark Demir is actually going to pull down and off the track.
There is Smith in the 55, Christian Eckes there in the 15, Dalton Sargent in the 77. Sargent for Cunningham Motorsports, of course, Venturini Motorsports for Zane Smith there in the 55.
Got Nick Galopoulos, along with Bobby Dale Earnhardt, already getting lapped as well. And you see some of those are the steel body cars down on the bottom. These new composite cars with the ARCA Elmore 396 inside of them, they are extremely good handling cars, and you see that pay off when you come to these short tracks for sure.
Yeah, a lot more cost effective for these teams if they have a problem. This composite car is certainly the wave of the future.
Yeah, we talked to a couple of crew chiefs, a couple of team owners as well, and they said you can really build one of these ready to race. Now, no spares, but you can build one ready to race for less than $80,000. That's a lot of money. I get it for us everyday guys, but in terms of racing, that is a very reasonable number.
There you see Fontaine in that Mason Mitchell Motorsports number 33 car. Got a glimpse of him. Gus Dean up there battling for position. Dean in the Wintron number 32 for Kevin Sawinski, who, as we know, has a lot of laps here at this racetrack. Their shop used to be about 5 minutes from here. They tested here a lot. They raced here a lot. He actually picked up a win, I believe, back in '02 in the NASCAR Midwest Series. So they have a lot of laps here. And Gus Dean said, I'm kind of leaning on Kevin to help me get around this racetrack.
Yeah, Gus Dean got off to a rough start, too. 27th at Daytona. Then bounced back and at Nashville, had a little bit better run, even though he had a track bar issue. But then at Salem, had a great run, finished second, finished sixth at Talladega, seventh at Toledo, and was able to scratch his way back up into the lead for those Scott rookie points. And let's get it out of Bob Dillner. He has more on Christian Eckes. And Bob not there right now. We'll get back to him in just a moment as we take a look at Justin Fontaine in that red and white number 33. Now keep in mind, this is the first race back for him after a vicious crash at Daytona, where he actually broke his vertebrae and he had to go into rehab, if you will, and he did a phenomenal job to get back out here as quickly as possible. Great to have him back out here with us.
Yeah, I mentioned that was a Mason Mitchell Motorsports car. Of course, that is a Kevin Sawinski Wintron entry, teammate to Gus Dean. So as we go back up front here, you can see Riley Herbst now.
Oh, he's going to lose the lead here if he's not careful. Brett Holmes tried to take advantage of it. Prater right there in front of him, the number 9 car, definitely holding him up. And you can see Riley give him the chrome horn, if you will, and buckled up that hood just a little bit.
Brett Holmes really reeling in the leader. Christian Eckes right behind him. Zane Smith still running in that 4th position, but right now a 3-car battle for the lead. Here comes Eckes taking a peek to the inside of Brett Holmes, and he may have him down in turn number 1.
Trying to push him up and see if he can get a run. We talked, as you mentioned before, to Kevin Sawinski, who's had so many laps here. He said, you can run the outside group. He said, the outside group just might develop and come in here. He said, and you can run side by side. You see that a little bit, but it looks like Eckes has the better of the 2 cars as it stands right now.
Yeah, Christian Eckes, 4th start of 2017, 1 top 5, 3 top 10s. Best run was at Nashville, where he finished 3rd in his debut.
Yeah, but those finishes, even though that's a good one, the finishes aren't indicative of how good and how fast that car has been. We saw him go to the front, have issues, come to the back, go to the front again a couple times in the same race. We saw him at Salem, charge up to the front, led for so many laps, and then he had an issue with the right rear tire right at the very end. It broke one of the belts broke, and so he had to come in and change tires one more time. So it was just a moment that he had a race that was kind of off the beaten path, but he was able to salvage it and stay in there. Now pounding on the back bumper there of our leader, Riley Herbst.
Yeah, Christian Eckes got into him just a little bit, letting him know, hey, man, I'm here. Maybe I'm a little bit quicker. I think Herbst is going to hug that white line and say, all right, if you're going to pass me, you're going to have to go to the outside. But right there coming out turn 2, it looks like Herbst's car a little tight, pushing up out to the outside part of the racetrack. So that is a place where we could see Eckes make a move.
We've talked about Christian Eckes. He is definitely on the short list of somebody in general conversation. If you have to pick a winner, he is certainly a young man who you'd have to say has a shot at winning every time he comes out here. He's been so fast.
Of course, New York bus sales on the side of that Toyota for Venturini Motorsports. Christian Eckes, Bill Venturini, the owner, Jeff McClure, the crew chief. So he's got a lot of experience in that car. They're doing a great job right here running 2nd.
Oh, we actually heard a story that they cover this place in dirt a little bit later on in the year, so this asphalt does not live through the brutal winter exposed. So the racetrack itself is absolutely beautiful here, and as you can see, very wide, very, very racy.
Well, this is pretty much what we thought, catching lap traffic very quickly. The leaders are going to have to worry about who's ever behind them trying to get by him, as well as the slower traffic, and they're making it exciting for sure.
Great racing as we have kicked off nearly 30 laps here at the start of the Shore Launch 250. Stay with us. There's a look at your top 5. We'll be right back. It is a gorgeous night here in Elko, Minnesota at Elko Speedway. Welcome back to the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. Shore Launch 250. Yellow flag is out. We believe debris on the track. The 10 car, who was a late entry, will receive the free pass back onto the lead lap. That is James Swanson.
Yeah, Swanson in the number 10 car for Andy Hillenberg. Didn't think he was going to make it. Late entry, as you mentioned. Great to see him here, and he'll be the recipient of that free pass to get back on the lead lap. And that's big here at Elko Speedway for sure. 3/8 mile, and these guys will get to the tail end of the field pretty quick, especially now we get ready for this restart.
Yeah, a little over 30 laps completed already. Doesn't take them long as they come out here and qualify in the 14-second range. Let's get down to Bob Dillner. You have more on that young man in the 15 car.
That's right, 16 years old behind the wheel of that number 15 car. At the end of last year, he won 3 marquee late model races in America, including the Snowball Derby. Well, then he teamed with Venturini Motorsports. In this particular race car, very good, guys. Won twice at Salem last year. He's got a very good piece, and honestly, his report to the team right now is that this car is near perfect. He's just biding his time, waiting for the right opportunity to pounce on his buddy Riley Herbst and possibly get the lead of this race.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch these young guns duke it out for sure. That is Christian Eckes, by the way, behind the wheel of that 15 car out of Middletown, New York, and eighth series start as I count Jeff McClure up on the box for him. Britt Anderson spotting for him, and you can see the damage to the hood of the 18 car there for Riley Herbst. We talked about that before. He was behind Prater and did not want to get hung up. Brent Holmes was trying to make a pass for the lead, and Riley said, I got to go, man.
Yeah, he wasn't fooling around there, and he did what he had to do. I mean, let Prater know that I'm there and we're coming through, because I do not want to lose the lead. Of course, he's been fast, as you mentioned. He's led in all 3 races that he's ran this year, about 134 total laps. He'll run 6 more races, 6 more ARCA events this year for Venturini. So he's been knocking on the door, and tonight could be his night.
And Bob, you have more on the Joe Gibbs driver.
To his crew chief, Shannon Rush, and he told me honestly that that car right now just a little bit tight in the center of the corner. That's what they saw in practice earlier today. Riley pulled off a wicked fast lap in qualifying to get the pole position, but right now it's a little bit of a struggle for the driver of the number 18 to try to keep that 15 of Christian Eckes behind him. So they're waiting. They're not going to stop right now. They're going to wait for about a third of the way through this race to come down pit road, get some tires, and make an adjustment. Right now, Shannon Rush just wants his driver, Riley Herbst, to hang on to that car and try to stay in the top 5.
Yeah, there's a look at Shannon Rush, his crew chief, and yeah, a little early right now to come in, unless you have a major problem where your car is just not handling all to come in and get tires. But these crew chiefs will try and break it down in thirds. You know, they'll want to see a caution or around 80, 160, and then close to the end. So they want to get their tires, get their 4 fresh General tires closer to the end of the race, and try and get to the front.
Looking for this restart. Christian Eckes will pull up on the outside. He'll have a shot at it here on that front row alongside Riley Herbst, our race leader. Ducking down there, taking a look to 55. That is Zane Smith. Good start there by Riley. Able to hang on to the position, and he's going to clear it. Yeah, and a pretty good start for Christian Eckes there. Just not enough to remain alongside Riley Herbst. But I think he might have lifted a little bit coming on turn 2 just to get back in line on that low part of the racetrack. Zane Smith down there. Austin Terrio now in the 4th position as he battles with Dalton Sargent. Yeah, and I'm sure that is something that both the crew chief and the spotter are telling Christian Eckes, hey, man, you've got a great car here. Let's just be patient. We've got a long ways to go. You don't have to use it up. Don't use the tires up. Don't use the front end up by running into the back beam. Just hold the spot. We'll get there. Yeah, Riley Herbst pulling away about a car length, almost 2 car lengths right now on Christian Eckes down the front straightaway. Car driving very good. As we mentioned, and you heard it from Bob there, complaining of being a little tight. We saw him coming off turn 2, a little bit tight, but you could see still a little sun down there in turns 1 and 2 as it sets here in Minnesota. So this track will change a little bit as the track temp goes down. It should tighten up. Cole Anderson told us earlier tonight that it should tighten up a little bit as we move through the night. I get a kick out of these 2 kids, both Riley Herbst and Zane Smith in that 55 car. Keep in mind that Zane's father, Mike, is a team manager for Riley's father, Troy, and the terrible Herbst team, their desert team, which, by the way, as we mentioned before at the top of the show, they are running the Baja 500 as we speak right now. But it seems like those two kids are almost beside each other. They both have great talent. They've been racing with each other since they were old enough to race anything, starting off in short course off-road and a very aggressive form of sprint racing. They come out here. Riley qualifies number 1. Where's Zane? Number 3 there, right back behind him. And we got to tell you, the difference between first and second in qualifying to Brett Holmes, Riley to Brett Holmes, was 0.02 of a second. It was close.
Yeah, speaking of Brett Holmes, he has fallen back to the 6th position, now right behind the 77 of Dalton Sargent. So that car not handling as good as it did in qualifying here in the early stages of this race. Teams racing around the 48 of Brad Smith, as they all clear him there through turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, and a quick little note there about Brad Smith's owner. In 2013, at age 79, James Hilton, the owner of the 48 car, started 20th here, finished 19th in 2012. He also started 26th and finished 20th. He also started at Kansas that year and is the oldest in series. He's also the oldest NASCAR person to start at age 76. That's some of the history that you have here in this series, and it looks like the 2 car just got together with Zane Smith.
That's Eric Caudell, one of the slower cars, going a lap down, and as the leaders were coming by over in turn 2, it got a little interesting. We talked about Brett Holmes falling back a handful of positions after starting up on the front row. Struggling here, 54 laps into this one. We'll get down to Bob Dillner for more.
Well, guys, basically what Brett Holmes is going through right now is a very loose condition up off the racetrack. They believe as night falls upon Elko Speedway that the track will tighten up. They can make adjustments when they come down pit road, but his crew chief has told him, just ride now, try to save it. Nurse it to the first caution where we can come down pit road in the time that we need to divide this race up into third. So right now, a very loose race car for Brett Holmes.
Yeah, I agree, Bob, and this track is going to change drastically, and that's the beauty of the experience in these crew chiefs that's inside of this series that have experience in the Truck Series or Xfinity or in Cup, and they can anticipate what these tracks are going to do.
Yeah, and of course, on the box for Brett Holmes, his veteran NASCAR crew chief Brian Barry's worked with Brendan Gaughan, Regan Smith, Kenny Wallace, Justin Lofton, just to name a few. So he certainly has the experience, and that 23 car has been pretty good all day here today. Just fighting a little loose condition right now, and they'll be able to get it back up to the front.
Yeah, if you can get ahead of it, that's great. You hate to have to chase the racetrack, but more times than not, that's exactly what happens. As long as you can get there, you're going to have a shot at it. Guys are going at it. Good shot there of that 23 car for sure. Out of Munford, Alabama. The Southern States Banks sponsored number 23. Stay with us. We'll be back with more action. See if Riley Herbst can hang on. Welcome back to a very racy Elko Speedway here with the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. It's the Shore Lux 250 out front. Sets a drop of the green flag in, earning that General Tire Pole Award has been Riley Herbst. Right behind him, Christian Eckes. Then it's Austin Terrio, who has bumped up into 3rd place, our points leader, who has been so consistent every race, in fact, inside of the top 5 with the exception of one when he finished 6th. Then back behind him, it's a 78 car of Cole Anderson making his debut. We thought he would be good here, and he is delivering.
Yeah, you know, as we heard from Cole earlier today, grew up just down the road from this racetrack. He ran here full time in 2014, picked up a couple to win 7 top 5s. He's run the ARCA Midwest Tour here at this racetrack. He actually tested with Mason Mitchell, as we said earlier, back in February, and doing a fantastic job. He got the most cheers from the fans when they introduced his name. Just doing a great job here tonight, right now in the top 5.
All right, let's talk about our Scott Rookie Spotlight. You're going to enjoy this one as well. Oh, and we've got the caution flag out. It looks like the 10 cars up into the wall from what we are hearing, and there's a look at it. That is James Swanson, as we talked about before, that late entry for Andy Hillenberg. Actually, co-op effort there between Andy Hillenberg and Schrader. But James Swanson out of Clarksboro, New Jersey, unfortunately up there into the wall. Not sure what caused it.
Yeah, you can see there on the left front as he spun around there, a little damage. So he might have got into the wall just a little bit after spinning around there. So caution number 2.
We've got to get you a teleprompter. I saw you reaching up, touching the screen, so you're drawing circles around it.
Yeah. So second caution here, the Shore Lunch 250.
You got to love that can-do. Don't tell me I can't. And unfortunately, up there into the wall. And we'll see how hard it hit. I wonder if he can get going and get back into the field here.
Yeah, was the recipient of the free pass on the first caution that we had on lap 34.
You don't want to be the caution.
No, you don't want to be the caution for sure, but this could throw a monkey wrench into this thing. I mean, we're 73 laps in. These guys may think about coming into the pits.
All right, well, while they get him sorted out, pointed in the right direction, once again, let's go back to our Scott Rookie Spotlight. There's a young lady in the field, made her debut at Toledo, and boy, did she do a great job as she finished 11th.
Yeah, Natalie Decker out of Eagle River, Wisconsin is our Scott Rookie Spotlight. Right now in the top 10, she's run here in super late models before. She's watched a lot of races here. She'll run a total of 4 races this year for Venturini. It was going to be 3, including tonight, Toledo, Pocono, and Road America. So great to have her behind the wheel, doing a great job tonight for Venturini in the 25.
Let's go to Bob.
Riley Herbst brings that 18 machine onto pit road. It'll be 2 tires this stop, 2 tires and a chassis adjustment for Riley Herbst. But this car is actually getting just a little bit better for the 18 team. They're off pit road.
Now over the air hose, you can see that for Christian Eckes, and looks like they will be okay. Now this is all part of short track racing here. This pit road starts off, you enter in turn 3, and the positions start almost immediately in the middle of turn 3 and 4. You can see the retaining wall that separates the track from pit road, but then it wraps all the way around to turn number 2, and you've got to be able to get into your box and then keep the car aimed out so you don't get snookered, if you will. You don't want to have to push the car backwards to get going once again, and as you can see there, very tight confines.
So a handful of drivers making pits there, and I'm assuming a lot of them, you know, just taking the 2 tires, and so far it's kind of fallen into what a lot of crew chiefs were hoping for, that first pit stop around lap 80, and that's what we have here. So there's James Swanson. We saw him limp his way into the pits, smoking a little bit. I'm guessing that was tire rub there from the left front.
So we're getting things sorted back out. That, by the way, is your brand new leader. Dalton Sargent is out front. We'll find out how he does when we come back. We're about 80 laps into the Shore Lunch 250, and we just had some pit stops, a restart about to happen here. We also had a lead change as well because of that. Dalton Sargent, now our leader, did not pit. The number 18 on the outside, Riley Herbst, has been leading the entire race, did take on 2 tires. And he's going to run the outside with him. And look at those, just 2 tires on the outside, and he's able to go right around the outside of Dalton Sargent.
Yeah, you can see Cole Anderson now stuck back there behind Sargent in that 4th position as Terrio goes to the outside there. The Ken Trader Racing 52 Federated Auto Parts Entry.
2 cautions here and the first 80 laps, so it looks like this is really a great place to go racing, as you might imagine. But in terms of caution flags, just not that many for a 3/8-mile racetrack. These guys really in a dogfight out here. So taking 2 now, trying to save those 4 for later on, could really pay huge dividends for Riley Herbst.
There's Anderson in that 78, looking to the outside there of Dalton Sargent. He will make that pass stick there in turn number 1, so he will move up 1 spot into 5th.
And that is the difference between 4 or even 2 new General tires and tires with 80 laps on them. It's a huge difference.
And that's where the strategy comes into play. These guys, whether they take 2 early, take 4 early, don't catch any cautions. I mean, it's a roll of the dice.
Let's get it down to Bob.
Well, I just spoke to Dalton Sargent's team, and basically what they told me is they think they're okay. Chad Bryant, the crew chief, remember, he won the Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge last year as the crew chief, and he believes that he wants his tires later on in this race. So they figure, with a little bit of a loose race car, that if they can ride somewhere in the top 10 right now and then take 2 and 4 tires later on, they may be better off than the entire field.
Well, that's a good guy to have working with you for sure. And Dalton Sargent currently leading in that Sioux Chiefs Short Track Challenge points. And right now about to get passed by the young lady, Natalie Decker, doing a great job there in the 25 car.
They talked about Chad Bryant, of course. He knows what he's doing, a three-time Cometic Crew Chief of the Year. And as we said, different strategies are playing right now. Guys are thinking on how we can make this thing work and get to the front in the later stages of this race. But yeah, Natalie Decker is doing a tremendous job there, racing her way back up into the top 10 in that 25 for Venturini Motorsports.
Yeah, became the first female racer to ever score a podium finish in the ARCA Midwest Tour, finishing third at Norway, Michigan in 2016 last year. And she's been getting some help from Frank Kimmel as well, so he's been a huge help along the way. 2013, she was also the ARCA Midwest Tour Rookie of the Year, finishing third in championship points. Bob?
And honestly, Natalie Decker just a little bit nervous. She had some butterflies coming into this race. Her crew chief, Dave Liner, telling me she did a great job at Toledo. 11th place finish on the lead lap. But today, even with that experience that she has here, it's been a totally different ball game for her because these heavy stock cars are so much different than a late model. She's had to learn how to drive the car into the corner a little bit harder than with her late model. And then when it rolled over on that right front, she had to decide when to get back on the gas, and that's been the biggest challenge for her. But Dave Liner told me this girl's got a lot of talent, and she's showing it here tonight.
Yeah, we talked to a number of the teams out here, as you might imagine, figure out how you get around here. And they said as the tires will wear down a little bit, they've got to use more brake, but you don't really use, you don't carry the brake into the turn. They pretty much stab the brake going in and then let the car roll through. So it is a finesse. I mean, and it is a true art. It takes a little bit of time to have that feel. Now, as Bob said, she's been here before. You can see she's picked it up very, very quickly. She's doing a phenomenal job out here, no question about it.
Yeah, and a lot of these teams really bring in the base setup that they take to Toledo Speedway. You know, they'll bring it here. It's somewhat similar. They'll tweak on it the front end a little bit different with the spring package because of the turns here, but they have a good base setup. That Venturini team, of course, a lot of history, and they know what to do to make a good car here at this racetrack. Of course, winning with Brennan Poole back in 2012. So Natalie Decker doing a great job. Riley Herbst now has got the 55 in his rearview mirror.
Yeah, this will be good. The two young men are good friends. They've grown up together, playing in the race shop together, their dad's race shop together, and they've been racing together, as I mentioned before, since they were old enough to race anything, probably on tricycles against each other. Very cool, and we'll see if that decision pays off right there. Riley Herbst has to go way up, almost 3 wide, to get around the lap cars. And Zane Smith is able to fall in line behind him. A very smart move there by Riley Herbst.
Well, Zane Smith ran 4th at Toledo. Riley Herbst was right behind him in 5th, and here flip-flop him as they're racing for the lead. But Austin Terrio trying to mix it up as well there in that number 52 as he runs in 3rd. Christian Eck is still in the frame with Anderson rounding out your top 5.
Sure, Nas happy with this effort right here. It's great to see such a big-time sponsor on the hood of that car for Riley. Has such a bright future. And we talked about him before, driving for Coy Gibbs, Joe Gibbs' team. And then, of course, the 55 car of Zane Smith also chasing rookie points here in one of those Venturini entries. And we should also say that Zane Smith, much like we said about Riley, was not able to run Daytona because he wasn't old enough. In fact, was a little bit younger than Riley, so he was not able to run Talladega either.
Yeah, he will run the remaining ARCA schedule for Venturini Motorsports, and he's going to be a player for sure. You can see there, fastest time, 14.648. That's pretty much what all the leaders are running right now. In fact, I was looking at timing scoring a couple minutes ago, and Natalie Decker running a 14.7 and change as well. So pretty much everyone in the top 10, very similar to lap times at this point.
Yeah, that's just a couple of tenths off of where they qualified earlier today. This track is, as we heard, as the sun set here, is going to tighten up a little bit. Grip's going to get a little bit better.
Cole Anderson in the 78 for Mason Mitchell, looking to the inside of Austin Terrio very easily. Gets underneath him.
Yeah. Are you kidding?
Driving right by the points leader. He says, welcome to Elko.
Yeah, and Austin Terrio is very smart. Austin Terrio's chasing this championship, and he has been so consistent. Finished First at Daytona, fourth at Nashville, fifth at Salem, fourth at Talladega, sixth at Toledo. I mean, he has been clockwork as the yellow flag comes out here once again. And it looks like A.J. Fike up there in the wall. You can see the 27 car. And by the way, the owner for A.J. Fike, his father, Don, had a bit of an incident. We want to wish him the best. We understand he is watching us from the hospital this evening. So we wish you all the best, our friend, and get back out here.
Yeah, Don Fike, known the Fike family for a long time. Raced midgets with them back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And bummer to hear he had a bicycle accident in the hospital. We wish him all the best for sure. And it looks like AJ was able to get that thing off the wall. And I don't really see if he got into it.
Anything on it, huh? AJ, a super guy, so talented. Is really really a standout in the open wheel. Has run a bunch of USAC stuff, open wheel cars, we should say, and midget, Silver Crown, sprint cars. Very, very good. And Dan Glaus, of course, his crew chief as well, has been around this sport for many, many years. Extremely talented. So they have some great people on that car. And he might have just been trying to dodge somebody, miss somebody.
Yeah, you see some damage to the right rear there on the 06 of Mark Munier. The Wayne Peterson
a rough go of it here
Chevy
tonight for sure.
So third caution here at Elko Speedway. It comes at lap 107, and this could be a good opportunity for Dalton Sargent to make his way into pit lane to get some tires. We see there he is right there, did not coming in that time, so he's going to stay out.
Well, the strategies are in full effect here. The chess game is on to try and win the Shore Lunch 250.
CashNet USA is
Elko Speedway for the Shore Lunch 250, fourth round of the Sioux Chief Short Track Challenge. And by the way, we had a chance to meet the wonderful people from Shore Lunch a little bit earlier today. Make sure you check it out. They have some wonderful breading products, some wonderful soups that are going to all be purchased at Menards. Incredibly good stuff. In fact, we saw Bob Dillner enjoying a little bit of that soup earlier today.
Yes, it was very good. We appreciate those folks sponsoring this race, but want to talk about the 77 of Dalton Sargent. His crew chief, Chad Bryan, wearing out the pair of sneakers, trying to figure out his strategy here. He got himself into a little bit of a pickle because he didn't pit, so he said, let's stay out and still save those tires for later in the race.
So there you go. They are waiting as long as they possibly can. Of course, we're just a little over 100 laps in here. And Riley Herbst, once again, back on point, and Zane trying to make a run on him here.
Yeah, Christian Eckes there in the 15 right behind Zane Smith's 55, followed by Terrio. Cole Anderson rounding out your top five, but right now Riley Herbst still in command of this one. Doing a great job, that car turning very well through the corners. Entire track shaded now as the sun continues to set. Zane Smith looks like he can turn a little bit better coming off the corner, but still just not enough to get a good run and make a move on Herbst for the lead.
Love it, man. A couple of 18-year-olds, a 16-year-old, all leading this field, and they are extremely talented. And then it's our points leader, Austin Terrio, in fourth place.
And a rookie, Cole Anderson, making his ARCA debut right here at his home racetrack.
Another teenager, right?
Yeah,
19 years old.
Just doing a phenomenal job, and right now finds himself in the top five.
You know, it's really a smart move to come to a track where you have a lot of experience, you're very comfortable, you have your family around you, and then you hop inside of a new car and you come out here and just do what you've been doing. And that's exactly what Cole Anderson has going here tonight. There's a look at Cole Anderson once again, that 78 car owned by Mason Mitchell. And Mason Mitchell, by the way, up on top, spotting for him here tonight. And let's get it down to Bob.
Here's what's really interesting with Cole Anderson. They put all their eggs in this basket. His only ARCA race of the year. He's only got 5 more late model races scheduled for the remainder of the year. He is a talent, and he wants to get noticed. When he heard that they were coming to his home track and it was going to be live on MAP TV, he said, I need to be here. And that's why he's putting forth this effort here tonight. Now, the car just in front of him, Austin Terrio, our point leader, that car is very, very good. I just spoke to his crew chief, Donnie Richardson, and he says other than the car being a little bit snug in the center of the corner, right now, Austin Terrio is just riding And Austin told me earlier in the day that this track is so similar to Beech Ridge Motor Speedway up in his home state of Maine that he loves this place already. He's always good there.
Yeah, you know, Austin Terrio is very smart, and he can third, fourth, and fifth them the place to death here all year long. He is that good. That car is that good. And when Dalton Sargent struggled at Talladega, finishing 27th, he got caught up in that wreck there. That really opened up the door for those guys to do a little bit of points racing, if you will, even though it's early here in the season. Is that a pass for the lead right there? And no, Zane Smith, my apologies, Zane Smith out front in the 55 car, and Eckes able to get around Herbst there to take over second.
Yeah, Herbst falling back a little bit. Looks like the rear end's dancing around on the 18. Now Terrio will get by. Here comes Cole Anderson as well, trying to sneak by Riley Herbst, and it looks like he will be able to make it work as well. So
something has happened to Riley's car, of course. Now we know he took tires, but they wouldn't fall off like that. He took right sides, but they wouldn't fall off like that. Something has happened.
See Gus Dean right behind him there in that 32 car. He runs in 6th, trying to get by Riley Herbst. Gus Dean started back in the 11th spot inside row number 6.
Cole Anderson all over the back bumper there of Terrio. All but pushing him as you take a look at that battle right there.
Yeah, Anderson's got a good hot rod. You mentioned Mason Mitchell spotting for him, of course, the 2014 ARCA Racing Series driving champion. Let's get it back down to Bob Dillner with more on the 18.
Yeah, I just want to update you on Riley Herbst. There is no problem per se with that car. I just spoke to Shannon Rush, and he told me right now Riley's just holding on with a very tight race car.
And caution comes back out. One facing the wrong direction. It looks like it is the 28 car, Robert Bruce. And Robert Bruce driving in Willie Mullen's car.
Yeah, the CW Metals Ford there for Willie Mullins Racing. Willie bringing out a brand new composite car. That's his steel body car that we saw him run at Nashville.
And this is a perfect time for our Protect Plus mid-race recap. Let's show you how things went down here from the beginning. It was Riley Herbst in that number 18 car. He got off to a great start with Brett Holmes in second.
Yeah, Brett Holmes looked pretty good early, and then he kind of fell back just a handful of positions. But really, to this point, with the exception of right before this caution, it has been all Riley Herbst. He had a little damage there getting into the back of another car, Thomas Prater. But still, that 18 is a bad fast here tonight at Elko.
Yeah, he got into the side of Eric Cadell there, and Cadell went up and kind of took out Zane Smith to some degree, if you will. Zane lost a couple of spots. They came back and had another restart. This time, Dalton Sargent, the 77 car, was leading. But, again, Zane, with fresh right side tires, was able to take the point.
Yeah, the 77 did not pit. They elected to stay out on the racetrack, and he fell back a little bit. You see Natalie Decker there driving by in the 25, and then the race got fun to watch here up front as they were, again, working the lap traffic, getting around Brad Smith there in that number 48. But Riley Herbst, they're having issues in turn number 1.
Zane Smith able to just squeeze right through there. And there's a look at Riley Herbst coming in, and looks like they are taking on all 4 tires. So a big change there. Try and flatten that hood out just a little bit. Good thing they're not on a big speedway here. That damage would be significant. Bob?
O'Reilly Herbst just suffering through a very tight race car, guys, and they made an air pressure adjustment, but that's all they made on that pit stop. They believe maybe the 4 tires will help him out a little bit. Now remember, we're going to have to watch that number 18 car because he's got 4 fresh skins, and he'll be coming from the rear of the field with basically nobody else in sight.
And 115 laps he's going to have to put on those tires as well. By the way, the Protect Plus mid-race recap, it was brought to you by Protect Plus, the official licensee of DuPont Water and Air Filtration.
So 4 cautions to this point, total of 32 laps, 4 different race leaders, and just 1 car out of this year's Shore Lunch 250. Great to be back here at Elko Speedway. A couple years off, as we talked about, going back to 2012, 13, 14, and just everyone here has been so gracious, so happy to see us back here, and just a great racy little racetrack. And I didn't know this, and they said this was one of the last remaining pavement tracks here that is still open
Rumor
in the
has
state
it
of
is
Minnesota.
the only one in the state of Minnesota. So, you know, another little side fact. We talked a moment ago about James Hilton running this race. There's actually more owners here tonight that have run here previously than there are drivers. Yeah. James Hilton, Darrell Basham, Kenny Schrader, who finished 5th here a couple of times and qualified on the pole. Mason Mitchell, Wayne Peterson, they have all competed here. Of course, as we talked about before, Frank Kimmel as well, who's spotting tonight, picked up a win here. So pretty cool to see that some of the owners have been out here getting it done just a couple of years ago.
You can see bottom of your screen, that is Willie Mullins in the 34. He came into the pits as well as a handful of other teams. Robert Bruce bringing out the most recent caution. Teammate to Willie Mullins there.
Beautiful facility here, by the way. They have a drive-in just behind us, which is pretty cool. And a bit of a nightclub back behind us as well. Hope we don't get stuck there later on.
There is Big Willie, as they call him there, in that 34. A little slow on the right rear, getting 2 fresh General tires there. It looks like they will change 4 on that number 34 car. Brand new composite car. He never raced an ARCA short track prior to Nashville. Finished in the 17th position at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
And has a really good guy on the box for him, Andy Belmont, crew chiefing for that car. So a lot of experience on the box there for Willie Mullins. Coming back around
97
here,
no tires might be an interesting tidbit to give to the booth. Not from me, you.
And we are starting here once again. Zane Smith hanging on to the point right here.
And caution coming out, trouble over in turns 1 and 2. Natalie Decker involved, Brad Smith involved.
Oh, and Natalie Decker, unfortunately, sideways on that one. Looks like maybe the car is okay. See the right side. She's checking it out there as well. Hopefully did not flat spot the tires.
Yeah, she was around 10th or 11th. Here's another look. Now she restarted there about 6th.
Did she get down there? Did she just get down there on the grass and catch the splitter? Or did she get a little bit of help?
Looked like she was getting a little bit loose.
Maybe she stood on the throttle and it just turned it sideways a bit.
Probably got help there, finished her off, but that's a tough break for Decker. I mean, she had a good run, and I mean, it's still over 100 laps to go in this thing, and she can very easily race that thing back up into the front.
All right, so once again, the 55 car out front, followed by the 15 car. Here's a look at this restart. Zane Smith picks up the throttle. Christian on the outside. We're going to look a little bit deeper in the field at the 25 car. And it looks like she's ducking down to the bottom. She was not clear to the bottom. Brett Holmes gets into her, and she gets turned around. So the spotter, there was a little hole there, and I'm sure the spotter was saying, get down to the bottom. She went down there. Unfortunately, she just was not clear by a couple of inches.
Yeah, Brett Holmes into that left rear quarter just a little bit, just enough to turn her around. Certainly a tough break for the 25.
Looks like the car is okay, though. She'll be able to continue racing, and she still has a number of laps to get it done here at the Shore Lunch 250. You are watching the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards Shore Launch 250 here at Elko Speedway in Elko, Minnesota. The sun has set, lights are on. 145 laps in the books. And young Zane Smith in the number 55 car is leading them back to the stripe. Here we go. Christian Eckes on the outside is going to try to drive around and take the point, and it looks like he is clear down to the bottom, and he makes it happen.
Just a great restart by that young man in the number 15 for Venturini Motorsports. A great restart. Great run through turns 1 and 2, made a stick, let everybody know the top is going to be all right.
Terrio in that little silent hole in 3rd place again, just playing it smart. Is that Gus Dean down there? Gus Dean fighting hard down on the bottom. He's up there in the top 5.
Yeah, that's Cole Anderson. He was rubbing there on the.
Cole Anderson doesn't want to give it up. Cole Anderson's going to hang on to the spot for now, but Gus Dean looks like he's ready to use that front bumper. And Gus Dean with representatives here from Gree, super nice people. Of course, the air conditioning people with great products and some brand new products coming out later on this year as well, including some very well-performing mini-split air conditioner and heating units. With the 78 car able to hang on to the spot right now. Let's get it down to Bob Dillner.
And Ken, honestly, Gus Dean has been pretty hot over the course of the last 3 races, all top 10 finishes, including that second place run there at Salem. This car today has been pretty evil for Gus Dean. But honestly, as we get cooler temperatures at night, guess what? It's coming to him. He actually has a little bit too much gear that they put in this car, and he wasn't able to put down the throttle earlier in the day. Well, now it's kind of turning full circle, and that car is really coming to life.
Well, and that goes full circle back to what we said. The owners that have so much experience and can anticipate what this track is going to do. Well, his owner is Kevin Sawinski. Kevin Sawinski, a former ASA champ. Kevin Sawinski, whose race shop was 6 miles away from here, has a bunch of laps around here. Ironically enough, only 1 win, but he knows what this place is going to do.
Yeah, he said they used to bring the old ASA car here just to test. Every Thursday they had to test and tune and was able to just come here and run laps. So a lot of experience in that team. And Gus Dean, as Bob mentioned, has been pretty spot on as of late. Great finish at Salem, coming home second after that early race incident and going a lap down. They raced their way back up. He's gone from 6th to 4th in the points, leads the Sky Rookie of the Year points, and right now he's sitting pretty good.
Yeah, no question. Of course, we constantly talk about him, and it is well worth mentioning. Only his second ARCA race. He won the General Tire 200 at Talladega and had another strong showing at Talladega this year, finishing 6th. We had a chance to speak with him just a little bit. He said, yeah, man, it's just one of those deals. He said, it looked like the outside line was going to make a run, and I jumped up in there, and then all of a sudden it went backwards. I said, hey, that's my luck, man. Watch Brett Holmes and Riley Herbst, number 1 and number 2 qualifiers right there, and they are still nose to tail, although they're not right at the front of the field.
Yeah, Holmes right now runs in the 7th spot. Herbst right in front of him in 6th as they battle for that position. Herbst on the back bumper of Gus Dean now, getting around Thomas Prater in the number 9.
Well, it looks like Herbst got a little better car there and sticks a nose down. Sticks a nose down there underneath Gus Dean and tries to pick up this spot.
Now, Riley Herbst not afraid to put that nose down there if he thinks he has a little bit better run. Gus Dean giving up that position, so Herbst now moves into the 5th spot.
And you talked about Gus Dean leading the Scott Rookie Challenge. Well, let's talk about all of them. How about Gus Dean first, Brett Holmes second, Riley Herbst third. So all the rookies that are battling for that Scott Rookie of the Year honors, which has a nice payday at the end of the season, are all right there, nose to tail.
See Brett Holmes back there right behind Gus Dean in that number 23 car.
By the way, the rules on that deal are the best 15 races.
Yeah, you take your best 15, so you never really know how it's going to shake out until we get at least 15 races in the books for sure. But all those guys are going to be there right to the end.
That's what gives some of these kids a chance that weren't old enough to go out and run, say, at Talladega or Daytona earlier in the year.
Looks like Brett Holmes is slowly reeling in the 32 of Gus Dean. Rear end coming out just a little bit. Looked a little loose the last time around, that 32 car coming off the corner. It's real easy to make these cars loose at this racetrack because you're not on the throttle very long. So if you stab that throttle coming off the corner, it may appear as if the car is loose if that right rear jumps out, but these guys could just blow the wheels off this thing really at any time they want.
Yeah, we mentioned it a couple times. 700 horsepower is what these things make. The ARCA Elmore 396 is an incredibly good engine. Very consistent, very durable, and it makes great power, very controllable power. Fuel-injected power plant as well. So it's an incredibly good engine, and they put it inside of this new composite chassis. Boy, they've got quite a race car.
Yeah, 500 foot-pounds of torque at about 7,500 RPM. So it's certainly a good power plant, cost-effective. Really kind of like a plug-and-play for these teams. They'll get the engine, they just bolt it right in, and they can get a lot of laps, a lot of miles out of these engines, and not just short track miles, road course miles, super speedway miles. They can run this engine pretty much anywhere on the schedule.
Yeah, they can take the guesswork out of it. I mean, it's fuel pumps up to the engine. I mean, a little bit of everything there. And Fike racing hard. That 27 car, and Shane Lee just ahead of him there in that 22 car. The Cunningham entry, and Shane Lee, unfortunately, in a nasty crash just a race ago.
Yeah, Fikester working his way back up into the top 10. See Willie Mullins there in that number 34, splitting those guys a lap down. Shane Lee in that 22 car.
Woo! 34 car there moving around. Willie Mullins really lighting up the tires there.
Yeah, and remember, Shane Lee's third in the points. 3 top 5s, 3 top 10s, coming off that, as you mentioned, horrible crash at Toledo. He was third to kick off the year at Daytona.
Yeah, he was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. I mean, he just ended up on the outside of a 3 wide and pushed right into the wall. And boy, it was a big hit. We were talking to people from Cunningham who said there was absolutely nothing left of that car that was usable except for the dashboard. Bob.
Want it. Shane Lee trying to survive in the top 10, and I spoke to him before the race, and he said, man, I've had such a tough time here. We cannot dial in this race car. A lot of teams actually went to the Hickory Motor Speedway in North Carolina to test because they thought Hickory was very similar to Elko. Well, you would have thought if Hickory was similar to Elko that Shane Lee would have a great race here today because he's won almost 20 times at that famed speedway in Newton, North Carolina. But so far it's been tight, loose, all over the map for Shane Lee.
Yeah, Lee told us they went down there to test, really looking for forward drive. The Ken Schrader team went down there as well with Terrio and just trying to get more forward drive coming off the corner. And right now he sits in the top 10, but it just doesn't look like, as Bob mentioned, they have that drive off the corner and can really contend for a win.
Laps are winding down as well. If they're going to make a change and make a run at it, they've got to do it quickly. Stick with us. There's a look at your top 5, and we'll be right back to Elko in just a moment. Saturday night, short track racing at its best, and you're watching it right there as they split Natalie Decker, who is working her way back up through the pack. ARCA Racing Series is what you're watching, presented by Menards, the Shore Launch 250, and boy, it has been on all night long. Let's get it back down to Bob Diller. Hey, Bob, here's the way things are shaking out here. This strategy is playing out. The 77 car needs a yellow flag. If he doesn't get one, he's in trouble. But if he does get one, boy, he could charge right up to the front.
Yeah, he's in the lucky dog position right now, Ken, but sometimes when you gamble, it pays off. Sometimes when you do, it doesn't. What Chad Bryant, his crew chief, told me was he wanted to stop for 4 tires when everybody else stopped for 4 late in the race. And then he was going to stop about 25 laps later and put on 2 tires. But the problem is we're under 75 laps to go. The strategy can certainly still pay off, but after all, that's why they call it a gamble.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to take a shot at it, and there's no question he was holding on. And we've seen it happen a couple times this year where you take tires really late like this, and then they come sailing up through the field. So he needs a break right here. He needs a yellow flag to make all this happen. Of course, that free pass would put him back on the lead lap. Then he can take tires.
Yeah, right now he runs in 10th, the first car 1 lap down. Natalie Decker right behind him in 11th. AJ Fike has worked his way back up into the 9th position after that caution flag.
You know, something else to think about, too, is if he does get that free pass, it doesn't leave him much time to come in and make a pit. They kind of make you pay a penalty. You almost have to stay out there on the track to maintain that lead lap status once they give it back to you, because they give it to you very late.
Yeah, the lead lap cars, once they open the pits, the lead lap cars will be the first into the pits, and then you'll have to stay out on the track before you can come in. So it's certainly a strategy that, like, oh!
And if you were wondering how long they could hold on, there it is, because he is an extremely talented driver, and unfortunately just could not hang on to that one. Well, he wanted a caution, but he didn't want to be the caution.
He did not want to be it for sure. 6th caution of the night. This one involving Dalton Sargent all by himself. Got into the fence just a little bit there. You can see contact on the left rear quarter panel.
All of them still aired up. General tires are tough. Man, he has gone 195 laps on those tires. Think those tires are tough? Man, they are good.
There's another look at it. There's Riley Herbst in the 18.
Look at Riley Herbst there, and then we're going to come back and see if we can catch Dalton. So they'll rewind that, see if they can group it back up there for the 77 car. And yeah, we heard him say earlier the fuel window was 220 laps, so we were coming up on that pretty quickly as well for the 77 car.
And remember, he comes into this race second in the points, given it's still early in this championship hunt. But with how talented this field is, if you want to have a shot to win this championship, you're going to have to stay in the top 3, top 5 pretty much all year if you want to have a shot to win this deal. And it looks like a lot of big drivers and big name drivers coming into the pits. Let's get it down to Bob Dillner. Bob Dillner.
Christian Eck is going to lead the field onto pit road. I just spoke to his crew chief, Jeff McClure, and he said, honestly, this was a lucky break for them because they thought if they didn't get a yellow that this race would belong to Riley Herbst, but this will be a 4-tire stop for the 15 of Christian Eckes. I asked McClure, what has he said? He said, really not much. I said, is the car perfect? He said, it's never perfect, just a little bit snug, a little bit tight. He doesn't want to turn in the center of the corner. But a 4-tire stop, and the key here, guys, is will he get beat off of pit road? He lost 3 spots on the first sequence, but right now it's awfully close between him and his teammate.
Trying to hang on to it right there. Oh! And the games are being played for sure.
You see Austin Terrio there in third in that number 52.
He's hoping both of those guys to take each other out. Christian Eckes is going to hang on to the spot as we see the 77 car now of Dalton Sargent pull down in there. Christian doing an excellent job. Yeah, that car has been very, very good, no question about it. But he and the 55 car of Zane Smith, both on that Venturini team, battling for that position on pit road.
So it will be a 4-tire stop for Dalton Sargent.
And by the way, 6 guys allowed over the wall here in the ARCA Racing Series. 1 jack and 3 guns. And it looked like he tried to take off there maybe just a little bit before that jack was down. Hopefully everything is okay.
Pit road speed 20 miles an hour. So they come down almost to a stop, it feels like, when you hit pit lane.
For sure, no doubt. All right, so things are starting to sort out as we're working our way down to the end of the short lunch, 250. And we are getting down close to the end of this one here at the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards, the Shore Lunch 250. And Natalie Decker and the 25 car is hanging on and was just the recipient of the free pass. Works her way back onto the lead lap. She'll be at the tail end of the field. She'll have some work to do, but she's on the lead lap.
Yeah, really doing a great job here in her second career ARCA start.
Could be her first career ARCA top 10.
Dave Liner telling her at Toledo, okay, we want to finish all the laps. She did that. We want to finish in the top 12. She ran 11th and was the last car in the lead lap. So they were very, very happy with how she ran at Toledo.
Justin Fontaine also here, currently listed in 12th place, and it is great to have that young man back here, Bob Dillner, after a very scary crash at Daytona.
Fractured vertebrae at Daytona, was in a back brace for 2.5 months, tested at Motor Mile just a week and a half ago, and honestly, he's just outside the top 10, Ken, and they wanted to ease him in here. Well, he could wind up with a top 10 run. A great comeback for Justin Fontaine.
Yeah, he is the second car as it stands right now behind Willie Mullins, a lap down. He needs to get in front of Willie Mullins. Another caution flag comes out. He could get the free pass as they throw the green flag. And once again, Riley Herbst finds himself up at the front. Christian Eck is trying to hang on. Here comes Zane Smith on the bottom. Zane Smith with the entire bottom of the track to himself.
Christian Eck is trying to use that outside part of the racetrack that he did to take the lead down in turns 1 and 2. We'll see if he can race by the 55 this time. Austin Terrio still hanging around in the top 5. He runs 4th.
And how about that top group? We talked to Sawinski earlier. He said absolutely that top group can come in. AJ Fike using it as well, just a little bit behind those guys. But Christian Eck is able to use that top group and drive around the outside of the 55 car.
There rounding out your top 5 in that number 78 car, just behind these top 4 cars running nose to tail. See him right there, bottom of your screen.
Not believe we heard that Natalie Decker might have jumped the start. Something might have happened with her. She's going to get a drive-through penalty. That is costly to the young lady.
Yeah, 20 miles an hour through the pits. She has worked her way into the pits now.
Christian Eckes wiggled up. Riley Herbst now making a run for the lead. Riley Herbst tries to pitch him down on the bottom. Can't hold him down there. Christian Eckes goes to the front. Here comes both Zane and Riley.
Zane Smith now trying to get to the inside of Eckes as they race off turn number 2. He's got some lap cars in front of him.
Short track racing at its best, and somehow the 15 car hangs on. He used lappers as a pick. That is a smart move. That's how you get it done. And Zane Smith had to check up and fall in line. Austin Terrio back in there as well.
Yeah, Terrio gets underneath Riley Herbst, takes over the 3rd position. Cole Anderson now on the back bumper of Riley Herbst. Gus Dean, Brett Holmes back there as well.
Boy, that is just fabulous racing. Exactly what you want to see as we start winding down to the end of this one. Under 40 laps to go.
There's Gus Dean.
Side they
Dean
go.
To the inside of Cole Anderson, and that is for 6th position. Check that 5th position.
And Gus Dean's been there before and couldn't make it happen. Can he make it happen this time with that outside group coming in? And look at Cole Anderson as they run up fender to fender, just holding him down to the bottom to try and use that outside lane.
Very close.
That's awesome.
Turns 1 and 2.
That
Anderson.
is great racing.
Yeah, really getting it done. He knows this track, probably has more laps here than anybody in the field. First time in an ARCA car, but certainly knows how to get around here. They're banging wheels there.
Yeah, Gus Dean forces him up a little bit. It takes phenomenal talent to do that underneath all that pressure. Maintain your entry speed, your exit speed, not spin the tires, not overdrive the turn. It is so difficult to do, and both drivers did a fabulous job. But Gus Dean had the line, and he used it.
Shane Lee right behind Cole Anderson there. The big time Ford for Cunningham, the 22, right in front of Brett Holmes, who runs in that 8th position.
And Riley Herbst now again looks like falling off the pace just a little bit here as Gus Dean is quickly closing onto the back bumper as he'll start battling for 4th place. And let's get it down there to Bob Dillner. He has more on the 55 car, Zane Smith.
Yeah, Zane Smith was just named to the NASCAR Next program 2 years ago. Had a phenomenal year. 5 victories. Last year, a big old goose egg in the win column. He is hungry. He doesn't like this winless streak, but right now, that car fading on him just a little bit. A lack of grip, especially coming up off the corner. Now, they do believe if they have another restart, he is so hungry, he could go after and challenge for the lead, but they think they have a 2nd place car at best here today if it stays green, and right now he's being threatened for that spot.
Yeah, it looks like a piece of the splitter there on the left front is sticking out, so something's happened there in the midst of all that tough side-by-side racing. We'll see how much it affects him here, because that 52 cars all over the back bumper. He has been patient all night long, Ron Klupper, and now it looks like our points leader's ready to pounce.
Under 30 laps to go, it is time to go to the front. Austin Terrio has a fast hot rod, Federated Auto Parts entry, right behind the 55 of Zane Smith. You can see there's Eckes about half a straightaway in front of this battle for 2nd.
He doesn't need one more position in terms of points and hanging on to that points lead, but of course you always want it. You really want that win. He gets right on the back bumper. Let's find out what he does here. Is he going to try to wiggle him just a little bit? Maybe loosen him up just a little bit? Or is he just going to get a good, clean run off the bottom?
I think he's going to have to rattle his cage a little bit to get him to
I don't know. There
make a mistake. And there it is. He jumps up just a little bit. Terrio with the move down in turn 1.
And I don't think he ever touched him. I just think he put the pressure on him.
Yeah, you're going to see Terrio now, once he clears the 55, start to slowly reel in our leader, Christian Eckes. That last lap, Terrio was over 2/10 quicker than Christian Eckes out front. Of course, Eckes working some of the lower traffic. But Terrio's got a good crash, and now caution comes out.
Munir in the 06 again. Boy, he has just had a tough go of it since the drop of the green flag. Look, that car is beat up. One of the old steel body cars. Older steel body cars, I should say. Type of cars that they run at the super speedways. Required to run those at Daytona. And unfortunately, Mark out of Kentucky has just had a tough go. I mean, he's been facing the wrong direction a couple times here tonight.
Yeah, making his third start here in 2017 for Wayne Peterson Racing, and our 7th caution here in this year's Shore Lunch 250. In the first 3 races here at Elko, we averaged about 6 caution flags, so this is number 7 here tonight.
Over 20 starts and drove for Kimmel Racing in the past. Marquez, a veteran of late model racing at Louisville Motor Speedway. So we'll take a quick break here, pay a few bills, and then we'll come right back, see if we can't finish this thing up here at the Shore Lunch 250.
Believe in cleaner air.
We are getting down to the end of this one here with the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. It's the Shore Lunch 250. We're at Elko Speedway. 250 laps, 94 miles of distance. And boy, I'll tell you, the last restart was sporty to say the least. And
it's only going to get better here with about 20 to go.
It's not going to get any better. How about AJ Fike getting the free pass? Congrats to the 27 car. And again, his father watching on from the hospital. We wish Don Fike the best there. Had a little incident with the bicycle. Stay off the bicycle, my friend. It'll eat you up. As we take a look at the 55 car, we talked about that splitter sticking out, and there's a good look at it right there. And Bob Dillner, you know exactly how that happened.
Yeah, I actually saw it happen right in front of me, Ken. Basically, when he and his teammate Christian Eckes were battling to come off a pit road, they got together. We saw it on our MAV TV camera as well. That's where the splitter broke, and because of it, a little bit of a tight condition for the 55. But right now, Venturini Motorsports, they're talking about strategy on this restart. They know that Austin Theriault is going to battle for this lead. Well, they're saying the 15 of Christian Eckes is going to go, and they want the 55 of Zane Smith to fill the hole. So they're wanting to keep the 52 of Theriault on the outside and freight train him on back.
We'll find out how all that strategy works out. I'm sure they will talk to young Zane Smith as well. You know, one of those incidents can cost you a lot, especially if they were on a big speedway where that splitter would be even more important. It's important here on this short track. It's very important. But if you have a teammate in front of you, instead of battling on pit road when he already has the position, you got to check up a little bit and let him end there and save your car. You don't want to damage your car. So I'm sure it's a lesson learned here, but that's what this series is great about. Developing these drivers, they will learn from these moments and then carry it on in their careers.
1 to go signal given to the drivers, so we should go green next time around. I do want to mention we saw Riley Herbst back into the pits. He took right side tires, albeit older right side tires, but he did come into the pits.
Here's a look at the 18 car sponsored by NOS. Riley Herbst, who was out front pretty much the entire race, a good chunk of the race, we should say. So yeah, he had to come back in and take a couple of scuffs on the right side. Coming back around, looking for the green flag. Christian Eckes stands on the throttle there in the acceleration zone. 16 laps to go. Theriault right beside him there in the 52, trying to fill into the hole where they wanted the 55 to go. It's not going to happen. Austin Theriault, team owner, car owner, Kenny Schrader, who, by the way, finished in the top 10, and the Little 500, just 1 weekend to go. Yes, a 500-lap sprint car race, and Kenny Schrader still getting it done. But right now, he's hoping his young driver will carry him to victory lane here at Elko Speedway.
And I was told the first time he's ever run a pavement sprint car in his career at the Little 500. Kenny Schrader ran 5th here twice at Elko Speedway with ARCA, sat on the General Tire pole once. Has some laps here in Austin Theriault. A very good race car right now. Doing a great job as he is stalking that 15 of Christian Eckes.
Had a chance to talk to Austin Theriault as well. I said, who's spotting for you? He said, I'm not sure. He said he drove the Legends car earlier today, the number 17. He's really good. He said, I don't know his name. I just call him Spotter. Well, he's doing a great job for him right now because he has really kept him out of trouble this entire race as we are quickly approaching 10 laps to go.
Yeah, and Christian Eckes a little loose there. I don't know if he got some help or not. Theriault to the inside, and Eckes will remain up front.
And if you can get on the back bumper going in, you'll tighten them up and keep them from rotating the car. If you can get on it in the middle off, you'll loosen them up and try to drive underneath them. Right now, they have to deal with lap traffic.
Yeah, and Christian Eckes has already proved that car works good on that second groove. So running around the lap traffic, we know that 15 is fast. Is the 52 a little bit better? Do you want to be in second right now when you catch those lap cars?
I think he'll be able to drive underneath him cleanly. I really do. But, boy, he's going to have to be patient with 10 laps to go. It is hard to do that. These lappers are really playing a huge role here at the end of this race.
They are side by side
There
right
it
in front
is,
of it.
but
Bobby Dale
he's gonna get
Earnhardt spins
snookered.
out.
Oh, man. I thought for sure, I mean, he turned to 3 to try and stay in the lead, but I thought for sure that the 3 car of Bobby Dale Earnhardt would certainly collect Terrio, but he did not. I don't know how Terrio stayed out of that one. But wow, caution flag. We're going to have a shootout here, man.
Bobby Dale Earnhardt in that number 3 ran at Toledo in his ARCA debut, 29 years old, 4th generation driver, of course, grandson of the late great Dale Earnhardt. He's the son of Kerry Earnhardt, brother Jeffrey in the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, but getting the call to drive the Hickson Construction Chevrolet this weekend here at Elko Speedway, and just one of those wrong place, wrong times, I think, for the 3 car.
Yeah, you're exactly right. 2013 ARCA Truck Series Rookie of the Year as well, and of course, in one of those steel body cars there. Yeah, you're right. I mean, just wrong place at the wrong time and way up the track. I mean, you know, the lappers are racing with each other, and he's in that outside groove, and those guys are trying to find a way around. They're not going to go 3 wide. They're going to turn you first, and that's exactly what happened there. Christian Eckes said, man, I got to have a lane here because the dogs are coming after me.
8th caution of the night here, the Shore Lunch 250. 77 of Dalton Sargent receiving the free pass here. Now it's a shootout.
So George Eckes, by the way, from what we understand, a ball and nerves, and to be expected. I've been a dad in that situation, but he is up there watching all of this, trying as his son tries to hang on and grab this win. What a moment it would be for the 16-year-old Christian Eckes to grab a win here tonight.
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting. Again, he can choose whether he wants to start on the bottom or the top here for this restart. For more on Eckes, let's get it back down to Bob Dillner.
Well, here's what's interesting about Christian Eckes. We all know he's 16 years old. He's got a lot of talent, but he's never been here before, and he only has a handful of starts in the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards. So how does a kid know how to go this fast that's 16 years old at Elko, a track he's never been to? He's never been to the state of Minnesota. Well, guess what? He went on iRacing, and he figured out and made many laps on iRacing to dial in his car and know the line that he needs to run.
That is a great tool. There is no question, and I'm sure it paid dividends as well. He is out here in the front trying to hang on to see if he can capture his first career ARCA Racing Series win. Terrio to the outside. He's going to try to make it happen around the outside. The 52 car pulls up right alongside. The 15 car is not going to let it go easily.
Zane Smith back here in the 55. There's the 18 of Riley Herbst trying to go 3 wide here coming off turn 4.
Riley Herbst hanging on back behind beside the 55 car, but we go back to the point. Here comes Eckes again. Eckes runs him high up into the 3rd lane.
Zane Smith now trying to get to the inside of Austin Terrio. Riley Herbst using an outside line as they go side by side for the 3rd spot. 3 to go, 2 to go this time by.
And Terrio with a very smart move to fall in line into 2nd before he lost that spot being so high. Now he's going to have to see if he can get up on that back bumper and loosen him up. Can he get it done and drive underneath him? That might be the move right there.
White flag
He leads
is
at
out.
the stripe with 1 to go.
Wow, Austin Terrio, great move. 4-car battle for the lead. Half a lap to go.
Oh, Herbst a little bit sideways. Eckes on the back bumper. Terrio tries to loosen him up. He does. He pulls back up beside him. Zane Smith spins out. Terrio wins it. Oh, and a big wreck back behind him involving Zane Smith. Holy smokes, what a wild finish here. An incredible race at Elko Speedway, and the 52 car hangs on by a skin. I mean a bumper. Woo! Wow! We knew there'd be some excitement here. Oh, by the way, Cole Anderson, it looks like, see if we can get a shot at him on that front straightaway, but Cole Anderson looks like he might have been the car that collected Zane Smith in a big moment down there.
Yeah, 3 cars stopped. Shane Lee, Zane Smith, as well as Cole Anderson. There you see them.
That
Smith in the
right
55.
At the stripe, man. Wow.
We can see the helmet coming off for Cole Anderson. Good news there. The head net is down, or the side net is down.
Yeah, and of course, man, this much work and this late in the race, tippers going to flare, and
You could see the
Looks like
55.
they're calling people up there for the 55,
Well,
Zane Smith.
He just took the steering wheel off and set it there, so
That's
we can
great
see
news.
him moving around. And of course,
Talking
the
to
Cunningham crew over there on Shane Lee.
Shane Lee with a couple of big wrecks here in back-to-back races. Not good, man. And he said it didn't hurt as bad as it looked when he was at Toledo, but you just hate to see the cars get wadded up here at the end. Here comes Shane Lee climbing out of his cars. That's great news. Cole Anderson, after an incredible run there by that young man in his series debut. Cole Anderson doing a great job in the 78 car, owned by Mason Mitchell, of course, and looks like Zane Smith is up out of the car as well. So all three drivers at least out of the car. That's a great sign. And it has been confirmed that the 52 car of Austin Theriault has earned a win here tonight, and he becomes our first repeat winner of the 2017 season.
Picked up the season opener at Daytona. Puts a move on Christian Eckes. So let's go back and take a look at this finish. Coming off turn 4.
Again, man.
Smith gets loose right there.
Well, they get some help from Riley, no doubt.
Shane Lee turns right to try and miss him. How did Brett Holmes get through there without hitting anyone?
I don't know, man. He drove right into the smoke. They just could not see where they were going, trying to miss everybody. And a couple of big hits. I mean, these cars are getting it done around here. But that guy played it absolutely pin perfect here tonight. He was very patient, just rolling around in the top 4, top 5 all night long. With 30 to go, he got after it. That is Zane Smith walking very gingerly there as they help him over there to the ambulance. So we'll take a look at him, and hopefully he'll be okay soon.
One more look at it coming off turn 4. Herbst into the back of the 55, where the 55 got loose there.
Well, that's two young men that are good friends, and there's going to be some words there.
Hit right there.
And the dads that have been together in business for so many years, that makes for a very, very tough situation. But of course, first and foremost, we want to make sure that Zane's okay.
Yeah, they were all fighting for it. I mean, 4 cars going for the lead there, entering turn number 3. There's Cole Anderson. You can see him pulling off his racing suit there, and good to see that he got out under his own power, and we saw Shane Lee walk away from the car under his own power, as well as Zane Smith. He still had his helmet on. It looked like he might have been holding his left arm there a little bit, but definitely good to see him out under his own power as well.
Well, we knew when that caution flag came out with 8 laps to go that this one was going to be crazy at the end, and boy, did it deliver. And those two out front, man, boy, did they put on a show, Christian Eckes and Austin Theriault, no doubt about it. So we'll revisit all that stuff. We're going to take a quick break here, get everything sorted out, help these drivers out just a bit. And when we come back, we'll show you everything one more time. Stay with us right here at Elko Speedway. All said and done, we are back here at the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards Shore Lunch 250. And Bob Dillner, you were down there with our winner, and he pulled it off by 29 thousandths of a second. Austin Theriault on top of the box.
An incredible performance by Austin Theriault out of Maine. He's getting doused here in victory lane. I'm glad it's him and not me. Austin, the big question is, though, did you know you won the race when you crossed the line?
I could barely see it. I could see out of the left front window here. Man, this is amazing. There's a lot of people that put me in a position to win here tonight. You know, obviously Ken Schrader, Briggs and Beth Cunningham, Carrie Shear. It's just, it hasn't set in yet because we were running like 4th, 5th throughout the race, and you know, when we came and took 4 General tires, it just came to life. Really, we made a good adjustment. And that's all you can ask for. You know, you don't always have to win the middle of the race, but you got to win the last lap. And we did it here tonight, but really happy for these guys. I messed up on pit road when we came for 2 tires, but we drove back, and we got another check mark on our list for the winning this year.
A definitely passionate driving. Some paint swapping there as well. Take me through that last couple laps.
It was rough. You know, I think we were even, but at this level, racing against this generation of drivers, including myself, I mean, it's not like it was back in the day where you give the guy the lift, maybe once or twice, but it was definitely back and forth, and we got some marks on this car, but hey, we got to win, and that's all that matters right now.
Christian Eckes did come over and congratulate Austin Theriault. A big win for Austin Theriault, his 3rd win in the ARCA Racing Series, presented by Menards.
And his second win here this season, the first repeat winner here this season. Our points leader coming in, certainly our points leader going out. Austin Theriault doing a fabulous job here.
Yeah, just a great effort for that entire team here tonight. Like we talked about, he's kind of hanging out in the top 5, top 4. Then he got to the top 3, and when it was go time, that's when he went and put on a heck of a show with the 15 and comes out on top.
All right, once again, we'll take a quick break here. We've got to talk to second place because he nearly won this thing. We'll be back in just a moment.
Welcome back to Elko Speedway in Minnesota. We just completed the Shore Lunch 250 for the ARCA Racing Series. Christian Eckes, side by side at the line, you finished second. Did you think you might have had it?
I wasn't really sure, to be honest with you. We had a really fast number 15 Venturini Toyota. The general tires were really good. They gave us plenty of grip all night. I hate it for my guys. We've led at every single racetrack this year. It's just I haven't been able to put it all together. But, I'm really proud and really thankful for Toyota Racing, New York Bus Sales, all my Venturini guys. And we'll go get them at, what's our next race here? Madison? Madison. Yeah. Absolutely. And we were good at Madison, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Christian Eckes, when Bill Venturini, team owner, came over, he said, "Big Bill, I'm sorry. I let that one get away, guys."
And, of course, that will be his next race. We'll go to Pocono, but I don't know that he can run at Pocono at 16 years old. So Austin Theriault takes the win here. Christian Eckes, Riley Herbst, Brett Holmes, and Gus Dean round out your top 5. Cole Anderson, unfortunately, in that wreck at the very end as well. Boy, it was just a sketchy finish in the back, but so exciting.
Justin Fontaine coming back after that hard crash at Daytona to finish 11th. You see Robert Bruce. Natalie Decker comes home 13th, so 2 top 15 finishes to start her ARCA Racing Series career. The Moose, Thomas Prater back there, and rounds out your field there. Will Kimmel there in 22nd. Also want to give a call to A.J. Fike, races his way back into the top 10. He finished 9th here.
Congrats to him. For sure. Well, we knew this 3/8 mile would certainly deliver some excitement, and it did not fail. Boy, oh boy, what a shootout right at the very end of this race. Those last 8 laps were like second to none. It was absolutely incredible. We hope you enjoyed all the great racing action here from Elko Speedway in Elko, Minnesota. For Bob Dillner and Rob Klepper, I'm Ken Stout. Thanks for watching the ARCA Racing Series presented by Menards Shore Lunch 250.